Hello, everybody, and welcome to 38 Weeks to Go, your weekly podcast about fantasy football. I am your host, Nash, and let's get into it. How was Gameweek 29 for you? Generally speaking, the average was 40. So if you got 40, well done. And seeing that it was 40, it means that majority of us didn't do too well. I used my free hit, and it went well. Not as well as I would have liked, but it went well. I got 76 points. Now, the reason I'm saying it could have gone better is because I made some really bad decisions. For example, in the last minute before the deadline, I said, okay, Kukurea has scored 30 points over the last 2 game weeks. Why won't he score in this one? So what did I do? I removed Milenkovic and put in Kukurea. Well, if you watch the game, Kukurea had a chance that could have gone in. But in hindsight, it wasn't the best move because Milenkovic performed. And also, I was right in my call to remove one Nottingham Forest defender, but it should have been the keeper. I should have put a different keeper and kept Milenkovic. Apart from that, I also regret having Beto in my team. Well, he had a chance as well, but I was really debating whether I should put in Wisa or try to gamble on Strand Larsen. But Strand Larsen hadn't been performing. It's just a hindsight thing. I got 76, and my keeper gave me 1. Kerkez, who I brought in, gave me 4. Kukurea 2. Diogo Dalot gave me 11. So, first of all, I should just say, my strategy was bet against Leicester. It worked. Bruno Fernandes was my captain, gave me 34. Bumo gave me 6. Bowen gave me 5. Clivert 2. Wood really let us all down, especially if he was your captain. Wood gave us 2. Beto 2, and Haaland gave me 7. Looking at the fixtures, you see Nottingham Forest 4, Ipswich 2. So at the beginning it was 3-0, and I'm just like, yes, my keeper, clean sheet. Everything is good. I turn away and come back, and it's 4-2. Clean sheet gone, and then Milenkovic has scored and assisted a goal. And I'm just like, why? Why? And then I'm like, okay, I brought in Wood. At least he has done something. Nope. 0. Not even an assist. And at that point, I was just happy that he wasn't my captain because I was seriously contemplating it. It's just that I had my policy of going against Leicester. That's really what saved me this week. If Manchester United were playing absolutely anybody else, Wood would have been my captain. Another place people looked at was Manchester City. I know a lot of people brought in defenders, midfielders, brought in the whole thing. And given the roulette, we were not sure whether Mamouche would play. And he did. And he scored. And he was the best person to have chosen in this fixture. But we just couldn't know because Pep Roulette just messes us all up. On the Brighton end, you've brought in now Joao Pedro finally. I'm telling you that, man. Him and Semenyo, those are people who you watch and you're like, okay, these guys, they're good. But then on the pitch, when it comes to fantasy, they just break your heart all the time. Then when it comes to Bournemouth Brentford, I was there hoping for Justin Clivert to do the business. But then it turns out the wiser decision would have been to have a combination of Mbumo and Wisa for this fixture. I had brought in Kerkez because I've been impressed with what he does, just like what Kukurea does. But he delivered a random assist for an own goal. I'll take it. And then you have Arsenal versus Chelsea. Just Merino scored from a corner. I don't know what else to say. Anyway, looking at the top scoring game of the weekend, it is Ipswich 2, Nottingham Forest 4. Elanga hadn't scored in a while, and he hadn't really been in the squad for a while. He'd been a bit unavailable, but then he scores 2 goals, and you're just like, oh man, I had Hudson-Odoi, So Elanga just turned into prime Ronaldinho. He was just incredible in this game. And then Milenkovic has a goal and an assist. For Ipswich, Hurst and Kajust scored. It must be said, when Forest thought the game was complete, they just made some substitutions, and that is what made the game a bit more open. Jota Silva got the goal to make it 4-1. Good finish. Anderson, Gibbs-White, and Milenkovic had the assists. O'Shea had a good cross. If you're looking for a random Ipswich asset, which I don't understand why you'd be looking for a defender, it's him. Him and Leif Davis do good work. But him, O'Shea, and Clark had the assists. Now, Elanga, of course, got the bonus points, all three of them. Kajust got 2, and Milankovic got 1. The most disappointing game of the weekend is a bit tough because there was not any real surprise, so I'd say Fulham 2, Spurs 0 would be the disappointing game of the weekend. If you remember in the previous pod, I was very hesitant to support Spurs because of what I'd seen against City, and where they just kept rotating. I just didn't know what he was going to put out, and because of that, I was very low on them. Turns out I had good reason to be. Muniz had a good goal from Andreas. Now imagine if you had Leno. I'm so sorry, guys, for people who didn't have Leno. Anyway, Muniz and Semenyo squad. Semenyo's goal was really good power. He's just coming out of nowhere, it seems, scoring against his former team. Now, Leno had 3 points, Muniz had 2, Robinson had 1. And just like I had predicted, Spurs had put up some random lineup. I honestly don't think the manager knows what his best team is. He's rotating it like he doesn't know that Son is his best player. Son has been a bit inconsistent, yeah, but he should still be playing. He just adds a certain something. The marquee game saw Chelsea take on Arsenal and lose to a Merino header, 1-0. The game was just meh. It wasn't fun, it wasn't interesting, it was just what you thought. Well, the biggest shock of this game was Palmer not playing. So, of course, if you had him in your team and you didn't have the players, that made this a bit more painful. And I'm sure many managers, including me, will be getting rid of Palmer for the next game week. In fact, I'm beginning to think that this is the right time to use my wild card. Like I said earlier, Merino scored off an assist from Odegaard, which was a corner. Chelsea had a few chances, but it was a game which really had nothing in it. Timber got the 3 bonus points, Saliba got 3, Merino got 1. So, of course, if you had Arsenal defense, this was the time. A game week without Salah is quite challenging, to say the least. Looking at this game week's top performers, in goal, we have Leno, who had 13 points. What a haul. Then we have Onana with 7, Raya with 6, and then Flecken and Sanchez and Pickford and Areola with 3. There were only 3 clean sheets this weekend. When it comes to defenders, Dalot had 11 along with Milenkovic. O'Brien from Everton had 10. Timber and Saliba were tied with 9. Bruno Fernandes was our top performing player this game week. He had 17 points. Number 2 in midfield was Elanga, who had 16. Bellegarde from Wolves had 11. Norgard and Souček each had 10. And those are the top 5 midfielders. When it comes to forwards, Strand Larsen had 13. He was a top striker. Mamouche had 12. Wissa had 8. Muniz, Haaland, Højlund, and Onuachu had 7. So you can see it wasn't the greatest of weekends. Looking at the stats, on this game week in 2008, Frank the Tank Lampard scored 28 points. I am sure his owners were very happy with him. In this calendar year of 2025, Ipswich have not yet won a Premier League match. Forest went 1-0 up with Milenkovic's goal. By the way, if you haven't seen it, it was good control, a nice blast into the corner from a defender. From a corner, of course, it wasn't like some outside of the box craziness. Anyway, in 22 Premier Leagues this season, they have gone up 1-0. That is the most of any team in the Premier League this season. I guess it pays to score first. Elanga has scored 2 goals in the same game for the first time in his career. Brighton, in spite of having every opportunity to win, were unable to win at Man City. They have never won at Manchester City. Haaland becomes the fastest player to get to 100 goal involvements. He has done this at 94 games. He has 84 goals and 16 assists. Currently, Man City have conceded 40 goals. This is the most that they have conceded in a season under Pep at Manchester City. Bournemouth have lost 3 in a row for the 3rd time in their Premier League history. Brentford have won their 5th away game in a row, so they are on some good form. Everton remain unbeaten since Moyes took over. That is 9 games, and they have scored in every game. Milenkovic is just the 2nd player after Tarkowski versus Brentford in 2023 to both score and assist in a Premier League game across the last 3 seasons. He has now been directly involved in more Premier League goals than any other centre-back this season, 6. Mo Salah has won the Premier League Player of the Month 7 times. Moyes won Manager of the Month. I mean, he's unbeaten. He's had a good month. Congratulations to them both. Salah was Player of the Month, of course. With his 2 assists last night against Leicester, Bruno Fernandes became the 6th Manchester United player to reach 50 assists in the Premier League after Ryan Giggs, Rooney, Beckham, Scholes, and Cantona. I don't know why, I just thought Beckham would be higher, but I guess he didn't play as long. Leicester have officially conceded 1,001 goals across 679 Premier League games. They're the 12th team to concede that many in the competition. But, unlike the others, they have taken the fewest matches to reach that figure. Since the start of last season, Arsenal have scored more goals from corners than any other Premier League side, 27. 11 of those goals have opened the scoring, which is also a league high. Chelsea played without Cole Palmer for the first time since 23rd April last year when they lost to Arsenal 5-0. With or without Palmer, it seems like that Arsenal fixture is very difficult for Chelsea. With Moyes winning Manager of the Month, only Alex Ferguson, who has 27, and Arsene Wenger, who has 11, have been named Manager of the Month more times than David Moyes. Although having said that, this is the first time he has won that award since March 2013. Salah's 7th Player of the Month has him now on level with Sergio Kun Aguero and Harry Kane. You may or may not believe this, but the most selected player for last week for Gameweek 29 is Mo Salah. The most captained player for Gameweek 29 is Mo Salah. The most vice-captained player is Palmer. And now you understand why the average for the week was 40. Top transfers in this week. 114,000 have brought in Bruno. 100,000 have brought in Mamouche. 92,000 have brought in Munoz. 88,000 have brought in Isak. 80,000 have brought in Sarr. And it's very clear to see people are planning for the Newcastle and Crystal Palace double game week. And these make sense. These transfers make sense. Top transfers out. Palmer, of course, after his performance. 194,000 are done with him. Trent, 149,000 are out on him. Although the next time the Premier League comes is April 1st, which is 2 weeks away, so he might be back by then. Hall, 69,000 have removed him. Makes sense. Wood, 65,000 are done. Beto, 49,000 are done. The highest points this game week come from a team called T and Busquets. That's a funny name. Well done to you, sir. They got 129 points. They used their bench boost. Now, I guess they didn't have a free transfer, a wild card, or free hit because they lost 40 points to do this. But then I guess if you still get 80, that's still better than most people. So in goal, they had Sels, who got 1, Saliba, who got 9, Aina, who got 1, Milankovic, who had 11, Odegaard, who had 5, Kluivert, who had 2, Bumo, who had 6, Bruno Fernandes, who had 34, as captain, of course, Haaland, who had 7, Joao Pedro, who had 1, Mamouche, who had 12. Then his bench really did the thing. Dallo, 11, Norgard, 10, De Ligt, 6, Leno, 13. And that's beating many of us. Well done to you, sir. In our league table, manager Omar Gilo, manager of Ajab FC, used his free hit to great execution, got 89 points, and he is our leader this week. In goal, he had Raya, who gave him 6. He had Anthony Robinson, who gave him 7. He had Aina, who gave him 1. Gabriel, who gave him 5. Morgan Gibbs-White, who gave him 5. Bumo, who gave him 6. Bruno Fernandes, who gave him 34 as captain. Kluivert, who gave him 2. Strand Larson, who gave him 13. Wisa, who gave him 8. And Wood, who gave him 2. And that is what our leader has this week. In number 2, Let Him Cook was cooking. He got 88 points. Oreo FC got 85 points. Dream Killers got 84 points. And in number 5 was Kundi Matata, 81 points. When it comes to the most transfers made, Don Clinton leads the way yet again with 9 transfers made. Number 2 was Mike's team, 5 transfers made. Yogo FC, 5. Tyrone, 5. And then number 5, the inevitable, Dennis Combe, 5 as well. The highest change in team value sees Gwan Kim, co-manager of Kim Chuxi, add 0.4 to the bank. Manager Let Him Cook, Sir Chivini, has increased his global rank by jumping 892,000 positions. Ajab FC, our league points tally leader, jumped 30 positions with his performance. Well done to you. When it comes to our highest team value, no surprise, Suraj Baigane, 106.5. Keep it up. When it comes to most decrease in overall rank, Joe Barraza has dropped 497,000 positions globally. When it comes to a streak of red arrows, manager Rigo, or rather Team Rigo, managed by Regan Orina, have had 11 weeks of red arrows. Pole. Least points this week. Least points this week. Sees Team Hakimi get 10. 10. Sad points. Okay. Let me compose myself. Okay. So now, remember how I was talking about how most selected and most vice captained was Salah and vice and Palmer. So in goal, he has Ramsdale, who gives him 1 point. Trent gives him 0, of course, because he's not playing. Ola Aina, 1. Vardiol, 1. He has a guy called Wolf as his defender, 0. Wood, who is a defender, 0. Madueke, 0. Jones, 0. Palmer, 0. Salah, 0. Haaland, 7. And all of his bench, 0. For a grand total of 10. Oh, that tickles me so much. Now, in second place, we have Freddie Faris, who has 12. And then Tosh FC, managed by James Victor, has 13. Number 4 is Abdallah Rashid, who has 15. And in number 5, it's Walal Somali Angukanayo, 16 points, tied with James Dirangu, who has 16 points. I am so sorry. When talking about teams with the lowest team value, Olu the analyst has a team value of 96.8. Joe Baraza, player 1, has dropped 30 points, or rather 30 positions in our league table. That's tough. Manager Patrick Kaiser is struggling, and they have had the worst transfer outcome this week. They lost 22 points. And by that I mean, had he left his team, he would have been 22 points better than he was. Then number 2 is Don Clinton, who lost 12 by making moves. And then 3, 4, 5 have Andebe FC, who got -4, which isn't bad. Clinton Oko -3, number 5. Pitt Stank FC -3. Those are all reasonable points. Manager Don Pedro, Dennis Gathiga, is probably one of the most bitter managers this week. Why? He left 26 points on the bench. Well, he used his free hit, which was good, so he got 68. But 26 is 26. Capiende Massive has 21 on the bench. Peter Dennis, manager of Inject, 11. 20 on the bench. Ibrahim Ali, 19 on the bench. Tied with Uzamarki, 19 on the bench. And those are the top 5 of managers who left the most points on the bench. Aruris FC, managed by Kushkid, is in trouble. They have dropped their team value by 1.5. That is a proper budget squad. When it comes to a streak of green arrows, Peter Kimani, Angokanayo FC, has been getting green arrows, and this is the 9th week in a row. Congratulations to you. Now, when it comes to best transfer outcome, Don Pedro, manager Dennis Gathiga, gained 65 points thanks to their transfers. Imagine that. His team is literally 65 points better by making the transfer. Wow. And then in number 2, we have Dream Killers, who got 58 points from the transfers made. Oreo FC 51, Yaz 48, and in number 5, Not Nice FC 46. I guess it seems like these are people who use their free hits and use them very well. So it's very clear, using the free hit was a good idea for this week. Ibrahim Ali, manager of Team Yaz, is the team that has the most goals scored, 5 by his players. For the first time in a long time, Haaland was the most popular captain this week. 54 people chose him as captain. Number 2 was Mo Salah. 46 people chose him as captain. So this has been a great week for us who chose captains, not Salah. Because it means a lot of people really slept. 43 of us chose Wood as captain, and I am so sorry to all of you. Bruno Fernandes was chosen by 40 of us, and we made the best decision. Congratulations to me and the other 39 people. You chose the best captain. 9 people chose Palmer. I hope you had a good vice captain. 8 people chose Kluivert. 5 people chose Marmoush. Well done to all 5 of you. That was a tough one, but well done. 4 people somehow chose Isak. Maybe they thought it was the Carabao Cup captain. Anyway, Gibbs White, 3 people chose him. Bomo was chosen by 3, Solanke by 3, Aina by 2. Wow. Imagine if you chose Milenkovic. Anyway, Foden was chosen by 2. Somebody chose Strand Larsen. I guess a broken clock is right twice a day because you chose them last time as well. Cunha, chosen by 1. Hoyland by 1. I guess broken clock again. Somebody was smart, so tried to be smart and chose Vadiol. Somebody is absolutely trying to tank, and they chose Faish. Who chooses Faish? Goodness, that's the worst decision I've seen in a long time. Delap had 1. Robinson chosen by 1. Beto chosen by 1. Wisa chosen by 1. Trossard chosen by 1. Rice chosen by 1. Odegaard chosen by 1. And Martinelli chosen by 1. And those are the captain choices that were made by people in our table. When looking at our league table, we have a new number 1, Yusufa Mukoko, 73 points. They have 2,003 points. Duboy FPL is number 2 with 2,002 points. They got 63 points. Number 3 is Abdallah Kili, 62 points, 1988. Number 4 is Oti Omondi, manager of Odu, 68 points, 1981 points. Texas 10, 60 points, 1967 in number 5. Number 6, Eric Moranga, 61 points, 1962 total points. Total Football, managed by David Moy, 76 points like me, 1961 points. Andrei Sheikchenko, managed by Hamoudi, 51 points, 1959 points. Number 9, Reese's Set Pieces, managed by John Mongemi, 32 points, 1943 points. And number 10, we have Alan Mushangi, who is the manager of Junior FC, 1940 points. Between number 1 and number 25 is just under 100 points. So there's still a lot to play for. And between number 1 and number 10 is 63 points. So that means there's about 39 points between number 10 and number 25. So you can see the gap, it's just small. You have a bit of a bad decision, you shuka. You have good decisions, you climb up. So keep playing until the final minutes. It's not over until the final whistle is blown. And we still have a couple of weeks left to go. Keep fighting. Having said that, at the very bottom of the table, there's no chance for anything. Don Clinton is holding the bottom and he has 972 points. Over 1,000 points. That literally cannot be made up. And then you have Duncan Anzigari, 1059 points. Gift Omulangi, 1,200 points. Olu the Analyst, 1,252. And Patrick Kaiser, 1,260. Those are the bottom 5 teams. And they're a mess. Especially the bottom 2. The bottom 2 are 200 points away from the third last. Imagine if somebody was that good in our top half. That would be ridiculous. Now, there's a 2-week break before the Premier League resumes. There's going to be international break, so Premier League won't return until around April 1. So I will do a preview pod closer to the time. Apart from that, it's been a great blank week. This is much kinder than the last one last season where only 4 teams played and the average was 12. 40 is much better. So don't be too harsh on yourselves. There's still time left. Apart from that, have a great 2 weeks. Take it easy, managers. We'll see you. Bye.